What's going on, Bucs fans? We are live here at the Pirate Parlay Podcast, a special 3 p.m. Thursday edition because the Buccaneers weren't the only ones in town this week, as they normally are. The Tennessee Titans came for joint practices before their game on Saturday. So sights, sounds, fights, and more, all from that. We're going to have special guest Josh Queipo on. He's going to be breaking down his thoughts from the last 3 days of training camp, including today's joint practices. And then we'll get into some housekeeping stuff as well because the Bucs made some moves on the offensive side of the ball. We'll see what's popping off over there, and we'll get into all that and more after the break.
Turn up your volume. Because you're about to listen to The Sick Podcast. Pirate Parlay.
Battle intercepted, picked off in the end zone. Bucs are going to beat the Chiefs. We're the champions of the world.
The sickest Tampa Bay Buccaneers podcast. It's going to be sick.
Welcome back to the other side. Big show today. Buccaneers had a big practice. There was a lot of things going on. A lot of good things to talk about for sure. Some things that maybe bring up some question marks as we inch closer to the start of the regular season, and preseason, of course, starts tonight. So we got football back tonight, but the Buccaneers, it starts for them on Saturday as they do host the Tennessee Titans. They'll be in their red tops with their white bottoms. But before that, the Bucs had some injuries and stuff like that pop up. Stretching back to last week, Silas Cianzi and DJ Williams were both placed on waivers with an injury designation, which means if they get uncleared, they come back to the roster on their IR, which they did, but then subsequently were released from IR with injury settlements. Typically, those are determined by the length of the expected injury sideline. So say you have like an injury that's going to cost you 4 weeks, you'd get your pay for those 4 weeks, and then you become a free agent. And then you're able to, after a certain time period, you can sign back with the team. The Bucs had this happen to them last year with a couple different guys. So some housekeeping there. In addition, David Walker, who suffered a torn ACL in practice the day before pads came on, he was officially placed on injury reserve, ending his season. With those three guys being released from the roster, there was openings for three other players here. Jacob Harris was signed to the active roster from free agency. 6'5", 211-pound wide receiver. They've got Jaden Smith, another big, tall wide receiver, 6'6", 210 pounds, with all the guys out, banged up. Trey Palmer, Cam Johnson, Tez Johnson, Ryan Miller, Cam Johnson, Tez Johnson, and Trey Palmer. Ryan Miller was back at practice, but those guys are banged up, so they needed some more bodies in there. Same thing with running back, with Josh Williams down and out, and DJ Williams no longer on the roster. They signed Owen Wright, who spent some time in the league with the Ravens. So there is going to be some competition added to those rooms. We'll see what happens. The Bucs are entering their first week of preseason games, so all these guys will get a little bit of opportunity to showcase what they need to do to stick around on the active roster, the practice squad going forward. And another guy who they signed who is going to have a chance, I feel like, to compete for the top backup spot is Teddy Bridgewater. The Bucs have been saying for a little while now, with Michael Pratt sidelined with a back injury that has him on PUP and not practicing, and that's back all the way to offseason work, where he hasn't been on the field, and Connor Bazelak there. Then Baker Mayfield in with a bit of a hand injury. You get another guy in here who can take some reps, and for the biggest part, Teddy Bridgewater brings a vast amount of experience. He's completed the rainbow of jerseys. He's played on many different teams, many different systems. He's coached the game too, albeit at a lower level. But he brings a wealth of knowledge into that quarterback room for Baker Mayfield. And he kind of joked about it when he talked to the media yesterday. He's like, we've been flirting for a while, the pre-draft process. If he lasted a few more spots, Bucs probably were going to take him there. In 2020, he was the guy behind door number 2 if Brady wasn't door number 1. So, and he pretty much confirmed, I thought it was a lock. We had a deal in place and everything. So finally, he gets to be here in Tampa Bay, and I think he's going to be a great addition for Baker Mayfield in this room and potentially compete with Kyle Trask for that number 2 spot, especially if something happens with Pratt and he needs to go on IR for the year. It'd be a great way to kind of shelve him, let him get better, and let him learn in the classroom. So that could be a possibility, and then maybe Trask or Teddy Bridgewater, whoever makes the team, if they are competing for the number 2 spot. We'll see. I don't think Bridgewater plays against the Titans on Saturday, but we'll have another show out later. Surprise, breaking down what to watch for on the Titans versus Buccaneers matchup. So we're not going to dive too much into that, but Teddy Bridgewater, intriguing signing, brings a lot to the quarterback room. But as he mentioned during his press conference yesterday, the wide receiver room as well. So interesting and intriguing ad for the Buccaneers this late in the game, and potentially a guy who has a chance to compete for a spot, but at the very least, maybe end up on the practice squad and be a big part of that quarterback room. So, because he's so new, we didn't get a chance to see him on the practice field today against the Tennessee Titans. But next week, when they go up north to Pittsburgh, he'll probably be getting some reps there. But we did see plenty of other people, and bringing in him now to talk to me about what he's seen specifically over the last 3 days, and especially today, is the one and only Peter Report's own Joshua Queipo.
Hey, JC.
Hey, what's going on, my man?
I am doing well. I pulled over. I'm not actively driving.
Well, that's good.
I'm on my way back up to Atlanta after 3 wonderful days watching the Bucs in this god-awful heat.
We're glad you're not driving. Liam Cohen got a lot of slack for that last year on the podcast while he was driving home. But let's just jump right into it. What stuck out to you over these 3 days, and what has you really kind of focused on, maybe good or bad, that you've observed?
Yeah, on the good side, I'd say some of the progress from the receivers who are practicing. Mike Evans looks in mid-season form. Emeka Egbuka, everything that I've seen with regards to him at training camp the last 3 days backs up my pre-draft evaluation of him. So it's always nice when the priors match the currents. And he was wide receiver 2 for me on my draft board. I only had Travis Hunter above him. So that was pretty exciting to see. And Jalen McMillan, he made some really tough grabs out there today. Some catch-on collisions where he was able to come down with the ball. Some high difficulty catches, and it just looks like he's strong and just stronger at the catch point, which was one of the big things that had me a little bit lower on him last year. But you saw progress late in the year from him in that department, and it looks like he's continued to improve upon that as we head into his year 2.
Yeah, I think the wide receiver group is really fun to watch, and even though they're down a few guys, with Tez and Trey and Cam, you can just see how much talent is in that room, even with Chris Godwin not there. And Emeka, he, again, as advertised, I mean, Chris Godwin light, Chris Godwin Jr., he does all the right things. He's in all the right places. And if he's not, he's pissed off about it, and you can see him pouting on the sideline and trying to get himself right for the next rep. I mentioned right after the draft, I said, he's your wide receiver 3. That's who he is, and that's who he's going to be because of the talent level is just, and that's not to say, again, as you mentioned, McMillan hasn't looked good. It's just Ibuka's looked spectacular. So high hopes for this wide receiver room, and especially if everyone can stay healthy and Chris Godwin can get back soon. But the room that's covering them too, I think has been a really strong suit of camp so far. With that new addition to the secondary with Benjamin Morrison and Jacob Parrish, even Kendall Vildor, who was kind of an afterthought, laughed at when they brought him in by fans. He's had a really strong camp too. And you look at the safety, I think Tyke's transition has gone well over there. And the depth, it just feels like there's so much depth with the cross training of positions and guys like JJ Roberts making plays coming out of nowhere. And I feel like they have a really, really good deep room, and what was probably considered a weakness last year maybe turned into a strength. So what have you seen from that over the last 3 days? Does that sound right to you, or is there still a ways to go?
No, I would agree with that, and I think I'll add another name to that I don't think I heard you say, which is Bryce Hall coming back from injury last year. We got to talk to him yesterday, and he detailed the process of doing that. For him to come back from something that's pretty devastating, and to look as good as he has in camp, you feel like they're 5, maybe 6 deep at corner. When last year, after Hall went down week 1, they were kind of 2 deep, and that was really just Jamel and Zion, and then Jamel goes down for significant amounts of time. So obviously a concerted effort to improve that room, specifically the depth. Jamel Dean looked great yesterday. You're never going to win every rep as a cornerback, but 2 picks, 3 pass breakups on top of that. That was really exciting to see. And then Morrison I only got to see on Tuesday because he pulled up with a hammy and missed yesterday and today, but I was pleasantly surprised. I wasn't as high as others on him during the draft process. So it was nice to see that his training camp, from what I did see from the one practice, a little bit better than what I would have expected, which was nice. So, yeah, to your point. And then J.J. Roberts really stood out today. So I agree. I think that depth is a lot better than maybe some people are expecting. And Vildor has a very limited ceiling. He's a competitor, but there's only so much he can do. Hall coming off the injury, Morrison and Parrish obviously unknown quantities as rookies, and then Jamel's injury history himself. That's a lot of uncertainty. But in the aggregate, the odds that all of those players meet their 25th percentile outcomes or 10th percentile outcomes is very, very low. Some of those guys are going to outperform their average outcome.
Right.
And there's enough ceiling between all of them that I think you're going to see an improved defensive back room from last year. And that's not even talking about the fact that Antoine Winfield Jr. is just healthy this year.
All right.
So you add all of that in. I'm high on that group. I think I'm higher on the linebackers than most people might think. I'm higher on the pass rush.
Well, let's start there, because I think when we talk about the secondary, we talk about the pass rush. A lot of it is hand in hand, right? It's a perfect marriage there. If you're getting good pass rush, that's allowing the cornerbacks, they don't have to cover as long, and it's allowing them to take more risks on the ball. And same thing, if your cornerbacks are shutting down coverage there, then the quarterbacks hold on to the ball longer. Your pass rush has more time to get home. So I agree with everything you said about the secondary. There are some variables there that do have you concerned, right? If everyone stays healthy, I think where they're at 6 deep right now, and with Hayes and Thunderberg off the roster, makes me feel a little bit better than last year. Certainly safety. I was talking to people today. I really think they could keep 5 safeties, because I think they have such a strong group there, and the versatility that they have with guys being cross-trained at both spots, and about 4 of them, if they were to keep 5, can all play nickel as well. I think there's a lot of versatility to look at to keep there. But all that strength is also playing off the strength of the pass rush. What have you seen from there? Hassan Reddick, to me, looks as advertised. I see a different step in Yaya Diaby. I think the Pilates have paid off. I see a little bit more bend in him when he's turning the corner. And Kalijah Cansey and Vita are just very, very dominant, especially when they get going. Kalijah Cansey had a rep who's coming off the edge. I forget who it was, one of the Tennessee players, but it was just so quick and so smooth, and nobody knew what hit him before he set the quarterback. So
I think that was
this front 4, we've been complaining about it. Can't get home with 4. Is that still a complaint in your eyes, or do you think they've got a long way to rectify that?
No, I think that they certainly, I think with the development of Yaya, the development of Kalijah being healthy, knock on wood, right? And then you add in Reddick. I think this is the best pass rush the Bucs have had since potentially 2020. That's on their 1 deep. The key, I think, for this to really all come together, the linchpin is going to be on the depth side. Can Chris Braswell take another step? Can Elijah Roberts add anything as a pass rusher, 8 to 10 snaps a game? Can Logan Hall add just another step forward from where he was last year?
I'll say he dominated one-on-ones today. Dominated. And as soon as I saw that, I put it in our group chat, because plus I knew it would get to him. So who's in the comments right now who says, will Logan Hall ever be consistent? Miracles can happen. He was dominant today.
Plus, good to see you, bud. So, I mean, if you get 2 out of those 3, right, between Braswell, Roberts, and Hall, if 2 out of those 3 can be just a little bit more than they were last year, or in Roberts' case, just be somewhat of a contributor where you see some flashes, right, that's where I think all of a sudden that front is something, right? You combine it with, I think the big thing there is just the depth. along the defense overall is more encouraging to me. And I know a lot of people may think that that's a little strange to say, especially in the linebacking group where there were no big additions, right? Something that I've been talking about quite a bit is with you look at the trends of how linebackers develop in the NFL these days. Very rarely do you have a guy who's just drafted in the first 2 rounds, immediately hits the ground
like
running.
wide receivers used to be. It takes about 2-3 years for linebackers to get them on. Remember, receivers used to be like, oh, we got to wait till year 3 to really know what we got. Now they're coming in game ready, but linebackers are in that trajectory. Continue.
It is possibly the toughest position to play. Definitely on the defense.
Tight end too.
Obviously, quarterback. Yeah, tight end would be another one. But if you look at what Dennis, where he's at in his career, he's athletic. He had traits. They took him on day 3, long-term development approach. Showed some coverage ability last year. Everybody raves about the IQ, and he's entering year 3. That's usually where, if a guy's going to stick, that's where it happens. So he's right in line with that development approach. And from everything that the Bucs have said, seems like he's going to hit that, barring an injury this year.
Right.
So, but what I really like that the Bucs have done at the linebacker position is they backstopped him with 2 veterans who still have enough athleticism to play in the league, who know where to be. Deion Jones used to be considered one of the
You
better.
made a huge play today.
He did. But he used to be one of the the best coverage linebackers in the NFL. He still has all the athletic traits, or most of them. So I like him and Walker as veteran presence behind Servassier. That linebacker unit is going to be better than last year. I'm not saying it's going to be elite. I'm not saying it's going to be top 10. I think the ceiling is top 12 to 15 if Servassier can stay healthy all season. And the floor is probably like 24th. 24th would probably be 7 to 8 spots better than what it was last year.
Right.
That's a big improvement. So
yeah. We lost him for a second, but I'm with him on the linebacker room. I think a lot of people are discounting this linebacker room because Servassier Dennis. And again, he mentioned, people praised Voss last year because of his coverage ability, and when he was coming out of the draft, he was not known for coverage at all. In fact, that was the biggest question mark. And one of the reasons why he wasn't touted as an earlier draft pick, because there are so many questions out there about, is he a complete linebacker? Is he just kind of a shoot the gaps blitzer run stopper? And now you've got a guy who, people are clamoring because they need his coverage back. It looks like we got Josh. No, we didn't. We don't. Okay. But because they want his coverage availability out there, I think they're going to be fine. I really look at the defense. And again, I like the depth. Anthony Walker, Deion Jones. Where did you struggle the most? Coverage, right? You've got enough big safeties and guys who can come down and pummel in the run and stuff like that. And again, Levante plays the run still well. You don't need, you fix your weakness, and that was middle of the field, giving up the yards, giving up the game in the middle of the field last year. With guys like Deion Jones, Anthony Walker, Voss has coverage availability, and even Levante, who's clearly lost a step. He's not going to stick with Travis Kelce in the first half of the Super Bowl like he did in 2020 and shut him out almost. But, he's still very serviceable in coverage because he's so smart, because he watches so much tape. He knows where the players are going and what things are happening, and he can be there because he can read it. So I'm with you. I think the linebacker room.
Travis Kelce.
Yeah?
Yeah, because Kelsey's lost a step too.
Yeah, that's true. Probably now. Okay, with Sam Laporta,
There you go.
Let's go. But I agree with you. I think people are discounting the linebacker room a lot, and I don't believe that should be the case. So the defense as a whole, I think we're both in agreement. It's looked really good. I think today they looked really good, especially a lot of penetration from the line, some really good plays in coverage from some of the guys. I think there was a couple picks today. JJ Roberts had one. There was another one. Who did?
Hassan Reddick dropped into coverage.
Yes, Hassan Reddick. Yes, he jumped the route. Yeah, just dropped back in coverage, and it was just like a gifted to him. So, but while we're there, before we jump to this, because it kind of segues into that, right after that play, or was it before that play? Somewhere right in that time frame, because it all happened so fast, we had fight night at training camp. Second kind of fight. The first earlier one was with Cody Mock and Jeffrey Simmons. Mock probably got the worst of the rep. I think Simmons kind of handled the rep a little bit, but he ended up on the ground and words were exchanged and the lines were in each other's face and face masks were grabbed before they were pulled apart. But those tempers flared into later in the practice where we had a full-on brawl. Josh, from your perspective, give us a recount of the fight and what you saw there.
Yeah, I was actually walking to reposition at the time, and then my angle wasn't great. But from what I've been able to gather, Graham Barton got into it with some Titans defenders, pushing, shoving. All of a sudden, Bucky Irving gets thrown to the ground. Yep. And then from my vantage point, I'm pretty sure it was Luke Gedeke. I could be wrong on who it was. It was a Bucs offensive lineman. I just see him belly flop onto like two Titans defenders. Like just this is happening now. So and then to finish the whole thing off, somebody throws a football in from the sideline, like returning it to the field of play, and it hits one of the Titans defenders in the back. So he turns around, he's like, "What did I do?" Right? Like, so it was Tristan Wirfs is coming off the sideline with his cane. Pretty sure Baker Mayfield was right in the middle of it. It was very much like you can tell both of these teams were ready to be aggressive with another team, and it definitely showed up right then.
Yeah. So from what I've gathered a little bit from connecting the dots, yeah, you're right. It was Cody Barton, I believe, with Graham.
Cody Malk and Graham Barton.
No. The Titans defense, Cody Barton.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
Yeah, Cody Barton, the linebacker for the Titans. And while we're watching it, you can see it start to it's Fester's small to kind of get there, and then you can see the Titans players start to kind of like swarm on the field. And I was looking at the Bucs, and they're kind of still reserved on the sideline a little bit. Some are kind of like 2 steps out on the field. You've got like 10 Titans are like 10, 15 yards on the field towards the play, and I was just like thinking in my head, I'm like, look at it's like. That's how you know you have a well-coached, well-disciplined team. They're not all rushing out on the field like these guys before. And then Bucky Irving's on the ground, and now everybody's on the field. So I guess what happened was Cody Barton stood over it was either Bucky or it was Graham, because Graham got knocked to the ground. And, yeah, we don't do that. We don't stand over people like that. It's one thing like when we're having, some pile-ups and bang-bang, but we're not going to stand over anybody like that. So, yeah, crazy day. Practice is there, resulting in fights. And who else than the Bucs offensive line? You mentioned Luke Gedeke, Cody Mock, Graham Barton, some dogs. Tristan Wirfs barking on the sideline. Why are you crying, 93? Why are you crying? Just like getting them all riled up as well. But as awesome as it was to see as aggressive, and you see there's more Ryan Jensen feel to this line than there's been for a while. There's still a lot of question marks. Charlie Heck. What are your thoughts on him? Do you think this Bucs offensive line without Tristan Wirfs can survive 4 weeks from what you've seen, knowing there's a long way of camp to go?
Survive, yeah. I think there's going to be a lot of game planning that has to happen to account for him. My concern is the 2 deep. So if Heck goes down, or if they sustain a couple of small injuries where they're having to patchwork the line, that's where I'm really concerned. When Michael Jordan, is your backup right tackle.
Right.
I have some concerns about
career guard.
Yeah.
Not
so
one snap to tackle.
I don't mind bringing in Jordan to be like that veteran guard that the Bucs had last year. And his name escapes me right now, but they pulled him off waivers from Green Bay, right? Or cut downs. And, somebody with dozens of starts in the league can just bring a veteran presence, very limited. Okay, I get that because you want that nice blend with someone like Elijah Klein, who's still young and developing and hasn't actually started a regular season game. That makes sense to me, especially when they're trying to figure out what they're doing at center behind Barton. Right. So that makes sense. But, just starting the season off without Wirfs and having your swing tackle now have to be the starter, they've got to really hope that Gedeke and Heck can hold up until Tristan comes back, because it could get bad quick. There's a lot of positivity around Ben Queipo, but
Yes.
he's got a long way to go
Yes.
before he is NFL ready.
Right.
He had some decent one-on-one reps today. He lost some one-on-one reps today, and the Titans don't exactly have a elite offense or edge group, right? And when it really got bad for Queipo when they started going with like 2-on-2s, and the Titans started running just some games, some simple, tackle and stunts and twists. And Queipo like just full on whiffed a few different times. And then when they got out to 11-on-11s, there were some times where he just couldn't get off the snap quick enough, and somebody was grabbing had a soft edge, somebody was dipping him real quick. So Queipo, I'm not saying that this is like the death knell for his career, but these guys played basically a year and a half at college. He needs lots of time to develop, and that's not going to happen this year. He's not going to be ready this year. So they really have to hope that Heck and Gedeke can stay healthy until Tristan gets back.
All right. Well, I know you got to get out of here because you're headed on the road back home up to Georgia. So we'll end it on this because I think tight ends and running backs, obviously we need to see K-Dot, and I think you feel comfortable what you've seen from Payne Durham and Devin Culp to hold it down enough if something happens. You got an example of that last year. And I think running back, you're 3 deep there. I mean, Bucky looks great. Rashad looks good. 4 deep.
Everything I've heard about this Josh Williams kid is positive.
Right. So I'm going to end it on this. Give me a sleeper or a play. Give me a sleeper to watch for that you think no one's talking about enough. And give me a player that you're really excited to watch. Player 2 that you're really excited to watch Saturday in the first preseason game.
So sleeper that nobody's talking about. He's not new, but he does everything right. Ryan Miller.
Yeah.
I would say Ryan Miller is just that guy. You hear talk about all these other receivers. Ryan Miller's just always where he's supposed to be. He's always doing what he's supposed to do. He's one of the best blockers in that room. Yeah. He'll dig a guy out from the slot. He's just that guy. Like, you want him on your team. He's a gamer. He's a dog. He's just the glue guy, as I think Evan Klosky said today. I really liked his phrasing there. Who I'm excited to watch on Saturday, too. Elijah Roberts, to see what he can do on the inside there. And then actually both Roberts, so J.J. Roberts, the safety. So those are the 2 that I'm excited to watch, and I'll have an eye on them come Saturday.
Yeah, I mean, I'm right there with you with J.J. Roberts for sure. Really high on him. You think we see some snaps from Ibuka?
I'd like to think so. Maybe a series. But I wouldn't be surprised if they hold him off.
Right. Awesome, Josh. Appreciate you so much for your time. As always, go ahead, tell people where they can find you, what you're doing. You've got some amazing work, not just over at Pewter Report, but your own Substack. Let the people know where they can find you.
Yeah, for Bucs content, pewterreport.com. We're up in the merch. And then if you are into NFL contract projections, I do have a Substack, the NFL According to Q. It is $5 a month, $50 for an entire year. And right now I'm going through the 2023 draft class. They are not eligible for contract extensions yet. It won't be till next offseason. But I'm taking a look at where they are through 2 years in the league and just starting some base valuations of them. I've done the entire offense. I've done the interior defensive line. Edge will be out probably by Saturday as I move through the defense.
Love it. Love that for you guys. Josh Queipo, find him on X. Find him everywhere else. He's one of the best, especially when it comes to knowing the cap, contract situation, all that stuff. Thank you, man.
See ya.
All right, that's going to do it for us here. A quick little podcast here on training camp. There will be another one coming out that we're going to be recording right after this. We'll drop probably tomorrow, breaking down the Bucs-Titans matchup, players to watch on both sides of the ball. Any starters will play. I see Plus with that comment out there. We'll see a little bit more detail. We'll break it down in the next podcast, who might play, who might not. We'll get all that for you and more. 2 more things to touch on. Mike Evans, 44 on the NFL top 100 players list. And Baker Mayfield coming at 50. So both of those guys. Expect to see Bucky Irving somewhere. And, of course, Tristan Wirfs on that list somewhere as well. Levante David was already on there. And Vita Vea. So some representation already. 4 guys on there for the Bucs. So we'll be back again. I'll probably drop this next podcast out tomorrow night some point, breaking down this Bucs Titans preseason matchup. Football's back. Thursday night football's on tonight. We got Friday night football. We got Saturday night football. NFL's back. We're in the swing of things. We'll be back in the swing of things here as well with some guests coming on shortly. Got some good things lined up. But that's going to do it for us here at the Pirate Parlay Podcast on the Sick Podcast Network. Like, subscribe, turn on notifications. Let everyone listen to the podcast format on audio. Appreciate y'all as well. Come catch us live sometime. We're out of here. Peace out.
And that's a wrap. Hope you don't miss us too much until next time. Follow the Sick Podcast Pirate Parlay on YouTube, Facebook, Google Play, and Apple Podcasts.